Okay, hi Banat. We're back again with another video for lesson 3.1, inverse of variation and reciprocal function. So we have in this lesson two ideas only, inverse variation and reciprocal function basically. So the first thing is inverse variation. Inverse variation is sort of a relationship between two variables where if one of them is increasing, the other one is decreasing, okay? And it does have a constant amount of change. So the variables can be x and y, so that the y equals to some sort of a constant change divided by the x, because if the x is increasing, the value of the y will decrease, and so on. This is an inverse variation equation or general form. Okay, you can use the this triangle that you can sort of have some clear connection between the variables in order to help you to find any missing value you want. So you know the basic equation, just place it in your triangle. We know something about this triangle. The thing that is on top is always divided by anything that is under it, and whatever down here are multiplied together. Okay, so from top to down there's a division relationship, and the things that are down, they are multiplied together. And I can see clearly that the k is divided by the x, so I know that the k should be here, the x should be here, so they get to be divided, and the y is here. Okay, so how do we use this triangle? Let's say that you want to find the value of y. So what you do is you hide the y and you look at the other two variables. What's between them is division, so you can say that clearly y equals k over x, which is something that we know. Same thing here. Let's say that you want to find k, so hide the k and look at the x and y. X and y should be multiplied, so you know that to find the k you have to multiply x by y. Let's say you want to find x. What do you do? Sorry. Oh, what is this? Oh, never mind. Let's say you want to find x. What do you do? Just hide the x, and then you say that to find the x you need to divide k by the y. So you know that in advance. So you know that to find the x you just divide k by the y. So you don't need to memorize these. Just it's enough to memorize the original equation and use the triangle to help you out finding anything else. Okay, طيب, this for inverse of variation. Now we have another relationship that is called direct variation, and the direct one looks like this. If one of them is increasing, the other one is increasing. So if the y is increasing, the x will also increase with some constant change. That's the equation for the direct of variation. It's just enough for you to memorize the general equations. Again, you can use the triangle to help you out finding any missing term. Now remember, there's a division between whatever on top and anything that is here, and the terms that are down here, they are multiplied together. So I can see clearly that the k and x are multiplied, so I can just place them down here, k and x, and the y will go on top. So this is a very easy way to organize your answer. Again, if you want to find y, you look at the other variables. K and x are multiplied, which is basically what we know. So to find y, just multiply k by x. And let's say you want to find k. To find k, hide the k. You need to divide y by x. Divide y by x. And lastly, to find the x, let's say that you want to find the x, just hide down the x. You need to divide the y and the k. So to find the x, you need to divide y by k. That's it. So you don't need to memorize much. Just remember the original equation, and you have to know how to use this triangle, seriously. Time. Now, one more thing is that if you have an inverse relationship, then the numbers throughout all different values of x and y numbers, the k stays constant. Same for direct. Throughout all values, the k stays constant. So let's say that you have many x and y values, and you want to see if they are inverse or not. just use the inverse equation. Try to find the k every single time and see, is the k staying constant? It should be constant because it's called constant of variation. Okay, so the k is called constant of variation. It should stay constant. Find the k in every single time and see, are we getting the same k? If we are, then it's the inverse or direct, depends on which equation of k did you use. So I'm gonna try to check if it's inverse. So what I will do, I'm gonna use the inverse of variation relationship equation to find the k. So I know that to find the k, I need to divide x and y if I'm talking about inverse relationship. So I just have to multiply x and y. So just multiply negative 4 by 20, it's going to be negative 80. Do the same here, just every single time, just to find the k, multiply x by y to check if it's inverse or not, okay? The same here, negative 3 by 15 is also negative but 45. They are different, no need to check the rest. Since they are different, directly I'm going to say that they are not inverse relationship whatsoever. Now, am I done? Of course not. Check the direct ones. So you can also check for the direct relationship, see whether they have some sort of direct relationship or not. But in order to do that, you have to use the direct equations. So to find the k in direct relationship, you have to divide y by the x. So it's sort of different. If I got the same k, then they have direct relationship. Let's see. So here I have to divide 20 by negative 4, and the answer is negative 5. Next, I have to divide 15 by negative 3. The answer is negative 5. Next, I have to divide 10 by negative 2. It's negative 5. And last, I have to divide 5 by negative 1. It's negative 5. Since I got the same k throughout all different terms, then it is direct relationship, and so on. That's it. It's very easy concept. You have to just check your answer. So the only secret here is to find the k and make sure that you're just having the same k. Same goes here. So find the inverse and use the equation for inverse. To check for inverse, you have to get back to the equations. So which is k equals x times y. To check for inverse relationship, just multiply x and y. To check for direct relationship, just divide y by the x, okay? So multiply x and y. 60 times 1 is 60. 30 times 2, it's 60. Again 60, and last one is also 60. Since I got the same k, no need to check for direct relationship. It's directly, yes, it is inverse whatsoever. If you want to check the direct one, just go ahead and check it, but it won't be constant. So find the k by dividing y by the x. 60 divided by 1 is 60. 30 divided by 2 is 15. See, I got different k, so no need to check the rest. It's not direct. So let's do some word problems. Usually in word problems, they would give you a statement at the beginning mentioning if it's inverse or direct relationship. And the first variable they will talk about is your y. Second one is your x. They will not tell you in the question which one is y, which one is x. You just have to keep it in mind. So here we have the time in hours, t. This is a variable, okay? And that's the first variable, so that's my y, okay? That it takes a group of volunteers to build a playground varies inversely. So I know it's an inverse relationship. So directly I know that my triangle would look like this. The k will go on top, x and y will go here, okay? Varies inversely with number of volunteers. Number of volunteers is your x because it's the second variable. So always first variable is the y, second variable is the x, and they have to mention if it's inverse or not. Then they gave you some information here. It takes a group of 10 volunteers. Remember the volunteers here, which we said it's my x variable. Again, keep it on the side. Number of volunteers. And our y is the time. Okay. It takes a group of 10 volunteers. That's basically the x. 8 hours. That's a y. To build a playground. The playground. Make a table showing the time it would take them to build the playground if you have these different number of volunteers. Okay, so these are x values. They are different x values. But before I start, I have to first always find k. Looking at your triangle, remember, just always use this triangle for inverse. Looking at the triangle, just hide your k. What do you have left? X and y. They are multiplied by each other. So to find k, multiply x and y. So from where can I get the x and y? They gave me some values here at the beginning. I can use them. So just to find k, multiply 10 by 8, which is going to be 80. That's it. That's k. Then write your equation. Equation of variation is basically y equals k divided by x. Okay, so y equals k, which is 80, divided by x. And always substitute your k. Just write down. This is my equation. Done. I have the k and I have the equation. Now build your table. They want you to build a table for different x values. Find the y of these. X values, they remember, they represent number of volunteers. Y values, they represent the time. Okay. Anyways, number of volunteers can be 15, 20, 25, and 30. So find the y when the x is 15, find the y, and so on. Which equation I use? I use the equation where I want to find the y. So hide your y. What do you have left? It's k over x. So every single time divide the k by the x. So here the k is 80, divide by our x is 15. Check your answer. It's gonna be 4 maybe, I'm not sure. 80 divided by 15 is 5.3. Same here, 80 divided by our x, 20. This one is 4. 80 divided by our x, 25. This is gonna be 3.2. And then 80 divided by 30 is gonna be 2 point something. 2.6, and that's it. So I found the values: 5.3, 4, 3.2, 2.6. Then what happens to the time it takes to build as the number of volunteers increases? So the higher the number of volunteers, the lower, or the time decreases. You need less time to build the playground. So they are inversely related. One of them increasing, which is number of volunteers, and the other one decreases, which is the time. Done. Now let's see this one. The amount of time it takes for an ice cube to melt varies inversely to the air temperature. But first of all, I know it's an inverse relationship, and I have two variables. Amount of time, that's the first variable. This is my y. And then air temperature, this is my x. Temperature. طيب, let's see. So the y is the time and the x is the temperature. So y is the time, x is the temperature. Let's see. So at 20 Celsius, basically this is an x. The ice melts in 20 minutes. This is the time, which is y. Okay. How long will it take an ice cube to melt? They're asking about the time. Basically y, they want the time when the temperature is 30, when the x is 30. So first of all, find k directly. Always find k. Go back to the triangle Again, since it's an inverse relationship, k goes on top, y and x goes down here. From top to down we have to divide, and between these multiply. Anyways, we want to find k, so to find k, hide it. Now we have to multiply x and y. To find k, just multiply x by y. So k equals, which x and y I'm gonna use? Use this pair they gave you, 20 and 20. So in 20 minutes, 20 Celsius will melt. The temperature will be 20 Celsius. I mean, 20 Celsius, the ice will melt into. Anyways, so use this information. So just plug in your values. So I have x is 20 Celsius times time, it's 20 minutes, which is gonna be 400. That's your k, okay? And then write your equation. Remember, the equation always starts with y. Y equals, so look at your y, you're gonna have k and x divided. So k divided by x, but the k is 400, so substitute it. That's my equation, done. I have the k, I have the equation. Then answer their question. They're asking how much time they want the y when the x is 30. And I know that the k is 400. It's a physics question. Anyways, so how do we do that? Use the triangle again. So hide, I want to find the y. So hide your y. What do you have left? K and x. So you need to divide k and x. So to find y, just divide k by x. So the k is 400 divided by 30, which is gonna be 40 divided by 3. 13.3. That's the amount of time in minutes. Please put the unit, Banat. That's it. Easy. Super easy. This lesson is easy, like really easy. Anyways, tell whether x and y show direct or inverse relationship. Again, on the side, inverse means k on top, x and y here. Direct, y on top. X doesn't change, never change. Y on top, k and x here, okay? First one says if you multiply x and y, you get a number, okay? So which one of the relationship I can multiply x and y? Here, x can be multiplied with the k, but here x can be multiplied with the y. So it's inverse directly. Inverse. Another way to do it, just x times y equals y. Rewrite it as y equals something. Because we know that the direct, it's y equals k times x. In inverse, it's y equals k over x. So rewrite it as y equals something, so you can see it looks like which equation. I can just get rid of the x by dividing by x both sides. Now you have y equals 5 over x, which matches the inverse relationship, but the k is 5. So it's an inverse relationship. Anyways, second one, we have an addition, but not anytime, every time you see an equation where it's adding or subtracting a number, it's not inverse at all, or not direct, neither. Inverse and direct relationship, they do not have an addition or subtraction. No addition or subtraction allowed. It does. Can you see any sort of addition or subtraction? لا. So once you see addition or subtraction, I might give you something like this: y equals kx plus 2. أكيد لا, لأنه في addition. You cannot. Next we have some sort of something. Just rewrite it as y equals something. So we have y over 2 equals x. I'm gonna rewrite it as y alone. I wanna isolate the y because I know how to compare when y is isolated. So the y is divided by 2, just multiply by 2 both sides. Multiply by 2. So it's going to be y equals 2x. This matches perfectly what? This equation. So this is a direct relationship. Anyways, let's see this question. Carmen said the table of values shown represents an inverse variation. Explain why she is mistaken. So let's see. She says it's an inverse relationship. If I want to check if it's an inverse relationship, I have to find k of the inverse relationship, which is multiplying x and y. So let's multiply. X times y is 24. 12 times 2 is 24. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24. 8 times 3 is 24. 16 times 2 لا مش 24. It's 32. So because the last term did not give me the same k, so therefore it's not because the k is not constant. We're not getting the same k throughout every single time. طيب, let's move to the next idea, which is reciprocal function. Here we have, how do we graph the reciprocal function? First of all, you have to know about the reciprocal function. The general equation of a reciprocal function looks like this. Y equals a number, we call it a, over x minus h. This is an h, which is a horizontal shift, plus k, which is a vertical shift. Anyway, we don't want to go into these details. We just want to know that here we're supposed to have a number, and here we're supposed to have a number. And these numbers, they represent the asymptotes. So the h is basically the asymptote on the x-axis, or the x value of the asymptote. The k is the y value of your asymptote. And basically, if it's an x value of the asymptote, then it's a vertical one. If it's a y value, it's a horizontal one. The reason for that is, for example, here, I don't have any number added to the x here. So it's 0. The h is 0, which is the x value of my asymptote. So I have a vertical asymptote passing by x equals 0. So you go to the x-axis. Where is the x is 0? Here. So you have a vertical asymptote here passing by that x value, and it is vertical, as you can see. حرفيا it's vertical. It should be vertical, so it can pass by that value. تمام. Same thing here. I'm gonna look for the k. Do I have any number added or subtracted at the end? Nope. So the k is 0, which is the y value, which means that I have an asymptote passing by y equals 0. So I'm gonna go to my y-axis. This is y equals 0, and I will have some asymptote, which is gonna be a horizontal one passing by that value to cut the y-axis by that value. تمام. So it's gonna be a horizontal asymptote. It's very important for you to know that always the y is horizontal and the x is vertical. Banat, it's very, very important. I'll give you a reasoning question. You can have any type sort of question. You can make easily a mistake when mentioning out if it's vertical or horizontal. Just make sure that anything that will cut the y-axis is horizontal, anything that will cut the x-axis is vertical, and it makes so sense صراحة. طيب, last information you have to know about reciprocal function is, I drew my asymptote. So how can I graph the function? The function, if your a was positive, your function is gonna look like this. If your a was negative, regardless of the number, your function is gonna look like this. If the a was a big number, it's gonna stretch, and if it was, shrink. If it was a small number, it's gonna stretch, and so on. But we're not gonna go into these details. It's enough for you to know in which direction. So this is quadrant 2, quadrant 3. This is quadrant 1, quadrant 4. So it's enough for you to know if it was negative, it will go to quadrant 1 and 4. If it was positive, it will take quadrant 2 and 3. And in this case, my a is positive 1. So I know that it's gonna be here in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. And remember that your graph cannot touch the asymptote. The asymptotes are invisible lines. They just show, like, sort of show you the end behavior of your function. As you can see, your function, the higher the x value it gets, the closer your function will get to the zero, to the asymptote. But it will never cross it. It will never touch it. Tamam? That's it. So let's take another example where we have some different values of asymptotes. Sorry. There's one more information you have to keep in mind, which is domain and range. Domain, remember, it's x values. Range is y values. And since we have asymptotes that we cannot touch, so the domain will be all the numbers except your x asymptotes. So what's my x asymptote? It's 0, which is the h. So, and the range is all the numbers except your y asymptotes, which is all the numbers except your k. In this case, it's 0. That's it. You can write it like this, or you can say it's x when x cannot be 0, and it's y where y cannot be 0, مثلا. Or you can say it's from negative infinity to 0, but open because it's not included, with and from 0 to infinity. Same here, from negative infinity to 0 and from 0 to infinity. All of these are accepted. You can use this one or this one or this one, either with brackets or set builder notation or like this different one. Type. Let's take another example. So we have in this function, the h is 3. We take always opposite sign. Remember, it's positive 3, which is the x value. It's a vertical asymptote because we're going to have a vertical line cutting the x-axis at 3. Okay? Anyways, let's graph it instead of just doing it here on the side. So we will have a vertical line cutting the x-axis at 3. This is my x-axis. This is 3. I'm going to have an invisible vertical line cutting through and passing by this number. That's my asymptote, vertical asymptote. Okay? Now I can see clearly that I have the k as 2. I take the k as it is. The h only I flip the sign. K is also 2, which is the y value. And I'm going to have here a horizontal asymptote. So go to y when it's 2. I'm going to have here a horizontal line passing through the 2, cutting through my y-axis at 2. That's my horizontal asymptote. Now, last thing is just take a quick look at your A. It's positive, so I'm going to be in quadrant 2, quadrant 3. So go to your quadrant 2, and that's your quadrant 3. Something like that. It's enough to draw it roughly. Tamam? Let me draw it nicely. What is this rod? Type. It's gonna be something like this. Banat, you can skip through. Oh my god, I have serious problems. Anyways. Type. That's it. Okay, and make sure not to touch your asymptote. Banat, once you touch your asymptote, bye-bye. You lost your mark. Like this one will not touch. Hello. Tamam. Hello? طيب, last thing is, I wrote my equation of asymptotes. These are the equations, by the way. And then let's write down the domain, and the range. Remember, range are y values. Domain is x values. So it's going to be all numbers except your x asymptote, which is 3, your h. So here is the same, all real numbers except your y asymptote, which is the k. In this case, it's 2. That's it. Or you can write it as x, but x cannot be 3. Or as y, but y cannot be 2. I think this is it. تمام. Yeah, something like this. You can use this one عادي. The equation of asymptotes, make sure to write them down like this. X equals your h, y equals your k. For example, here we did not care about the 12. It's not h, not k. It's the a. So don't get confused, okay? What else? That's it. You can go through some questions and practice more if you want. Like here we have a table, just check out if it's an inverse or direct relationship. Same goes here, just check out if it's inverse relationship. If they want you to check if it's inverse or not. They said that they don't draw 5 triangles and x represent the length, rectangles, y represents the width. To find the area, any area is basically length times width, so x times y. Then they said that basically I can say that the area is k here, right? Because that's what? K equals x times y. This is an inverse relationship. تمام. That's an area for 1 rectangle. For 5 rectangles, just multiply them by 5. Okay? And then they said, does the data represent an inverse variation, y or y not? Just check out the k, and that's it. We're done with this lesson. Make sure to practice enough, especially the word problems. Just getting to know which one is x and which one is y. Domain and range, x asymptote, y asymptote, vertical, horizontal. That's it. Good luck. Bye bye.